Hey YouTube, it's Arithmos. In this video, I will show you how to estimate pi using the dartboard method. Pi is the constant value defined by the circumference of a circle divided by its diameter. The value of pi is approximately 3.14159. Let's say there is a circle with a radius of 1, or a diameter of 2, inscribed in a square. Since the area of the circle is pi times r squared, r being the radius, the area of the circle is pi. The area of the square is equal to 2 squared, or 4. The ratio of the area of the circle to the area of the square is therefore pi over 4. If we took a dart and threw it at this configuration, the probability that it would land in the circle is pi over 4. If we threw many darts at this board, and counted the amount in the circle, then divided that number by the amount in the square, which is equivalent to the amount in the total region, we would get a number close to pi over 4. The limit of this ratio, as the number of darts goes to infinity, is pi over 4. We can model this method using a computer. I'm going to write this code in Python. First thing we're going to do is import random and math. Random will help us pick a random integer, which will be the representation of our dart. Math will help us perform functions such as square root. We're going to set n equal to raw input and a string, which in this case will be how many darts. This will be the representation of how many trials will be performed. Next, we're going to define count, which will represent how many darts have been thrown. Now we're going to define two variables, circleval and squareval. Circleval will represent how many darts land in the circle, and squareval will represent how many darts land in the square. Now we're going to set up a while loop, which is just saying when the count is less than or equal to the desired amount of darts, we will run the process for determining whether a dart is in the circle or the square. Next, we're going to set up the process for determining the location of an individual dart. We are going to set up two variables, y and x, which will represent the coordinates of the dart. Y equals 2 times random.random. Random.random is part of the random module, which determines a random number between 0 and 1. This will be used to determine a random point in our square. We multiply it by 2 because our square is 2 units wide and 2 units high. Since we know that the circle has a radius of 1, if we use the Pythagorean theorem to determine the distance between the point x, y and the center of the circle, which is 1, 1, and this distance is less than or equal to 1, that point lies inside the circle. If it's greater than 1, then it lies outside of the circle. Here we're using the distance formula to determine an equation using the square root function for the distance from the point x, y to the center of the circle. Since the circle lies inside the square, if the dart lands inside the circle, it also lands inside the square. Therefore, if the distance from the point to the center of the circle is less than or equal to 1, the values of both the square and the circle are increased by 1. Else, if the distance from the point x, y to the center of the circle is greater than 1, just the square value is increased by 1. Now we add 1 to the count to keep our iterations and eventually end the while loop. Finally, we're going to use our knowledge of math to determine pi. So pi is approximately equal to 4 times pi over 4, and pi over 4 is equal to the circle value over the square value, so pi is equal to 4 times circle value over square value. We have to multiply it by 1 point in order to get a decimal. Now let's run the program. Let's first try it with 10 darts. We get pi approximately equal to 2.8. As we increase the number of darts, the approximation for pi gets closer to pi. With 100 darts, we get pi approximately equal to 3.2. 1,000 darts, we get 3.188. With 10,000 darts, we get pi approximately equal to 3.1512. With 100,000 darts, we get closer to pi, and pi is approximately equal to 3.1388. And finally, with 1,000,000 darts, we get pi approximately equal to 3.144532. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for part 2.